Hello everyone and welcome back. Let's continue. Morrigan. This time, the Shillalach manifested unbidden in his hand as Tam felt a surge of power and a basic need to protect himself. He held it out in front of himself and took a step back. I think you need to explain that a bit better. Boggs got on his feet, laughing. Oh, easy boy, oh, calm down. Dion's not like the Morrigan. He doesn't want to control you. He just needs favours. From time to time, Dion visibly shrank away from the Shillalach as Tam held it between them. The thing pulsed with a subtle green. I have one in particular right now. The well. Tam figured that out pretty quick. What does this have to do with the well? The well is in the middle of the Morrigan's human gardens, Dion said. He relaxed a little. She takes a dip in that well from time to time. It prolongs her life, zaps the earth of her strength. Not because the magic is weak, but because the Morrigan takes too much. Controlling the entire unseelie population, it takes a lot of her on a daily basis. Tam raked his fingers through his hair, and he turned away from Boggs and Dion and looked over the cityscape. He caught a glimpse of his ears in the reflection as he lowered the shillallah and put the fingertips of his right hand on the glass. It was cold, hard, and soulless. We have to put Owen in that well. Yes, and the only way to get to it has to do with the shillallah. Again, yes. Tam focused on Dion's reflection, but you don't want to just use it. You want to take it back. You want to run the Morrigan out of there and reclaim the well? No. The answer stunned Tam. He turned away from the window and stared at Dion. No, I don't want anything that old crow's touched. What I want is much more complicated. And I'm not sure you're up to the challenge. Tam cleared the room in a blink and stood inches from Dion. It was only a second before Tam raised the shillallah and the tall Faery was thrown back. He sailed through the air and crashed into the fountain, knocked it over, cracking it to several pieces. Boggs jumped up as the door opened. An army of black-clad men with machine guns filed in. They formed a ring around Tam and pointed their guns. "Wait!" Dion called out from behind them. "Stop! There's no need. You're dismissed." The men in black lowered the weapons and filed back out of the room. Tam, still holding the shillallah in front of him, saw Boggs fishing Dion out of the rubble of the now destroyed fountain. That was quite a show. I apologise. I told them to remain on standby, but not to come in until called. Dion was more than wet. He was drenched. His blonde hair was plastered to his head, and his suit stuck to him, making him appear even thinner. "But I attacked you." Tam narrowed his eyes. "No, I came at you and you reacted just like you're supposed to. The fight to survive is built right into that shillallah. As I said before, it is your will, and having been kidnapped and tortured recently, your will to survive has grown. I think you would have reacted slower if this event hadn't happened." He brushed Boggs off him and stood dripping in his living room. "We can save Owen's life. The well is the key, but we have to do it before the Morrigan discovers you have your shillallah. If she knows, she'll build her defences against you. As well, she will triple all of her efforts to capture you. There won't be a better time to get to the well." Tam wasn't sure he believed everything Dion said. He wanted to, After all, that was a figure of authority, someone he'd looked up to for a while, in the electronic and gaming world. But this guy wanted to breach the garden of what everyone was telling him was a crazy, powerful fairy whose connection to Tam was the desire to take, destroy and control Ishtalalach. It's a big task, boyo, Boggs said. You don't have to do it. I have to save a win. Tam lowered the Shilalach as it vanished from hand. I was just getting to know her. I mean, I think of how great it'll be if I can rescue her. But if you don't want to take the well back, then what do you want to do with it? Just why? I want you to destroy it. All of it. Without the well, the Morrigan can't keep regenerating. Without replenishing her power, she'll lose it, and her hold over Faery. Tam couldn't argue with that. If Dion wanted to destroy one of his own creations, then so be it. The only thing worrying him, now that he had his Shilalach, was healing Awen. And you believe the Shilalach can do that? Oh no, only I can destroy it. I just need you to get us to it. And now if you'll excuse me, I need to change before we get going. He turned away. Now? Tam said. Dion paused. Would prefer to wait until Awen dies of her injuries? Get ready, leprechaun. You're about to test your power. And, probably, your weaknesses. Apparently, Dion had been planning this day for a very, very long time. He knew exactly where the well was, down to longitude and latitude. He knew the Morrigan's schedule down to the minute. He watched her for years, sent all manner of spies to gather intel, and burned through large sums of money just to keep an eye on her. If I didn't know why he was doing it, I'd think he was pretty creepy. Tam studied the maps Dion had drawn and memorized the surrounding. He did that very well. Landmarks at least 50 miles away also. Apparently, Shilalahs, according to the box, were capable of transporting a leprechaun instantly to a known location. But that was the key. It had to be known. Tam had never been in that part of the world. That part being Connacht Island. The plan was to transport himself to the well, and if he was successful, come back to get Awen and Dion. They would slip Awen in the water, allow her to heal, which Dion said was an instant process, and then Dion would destroy the well. It all sounded easy enough, but something about the idea bothered Tam. It nagged at him as he sat in Dion's round library amidst ceiling high shelves of books. Old books, new books, books in languages Tam was pretty sure he'd never ever heard of nor ever seen in his life. He periodically got up, walked round to stretch his legs as the night wore on, and the time to try Dion's plan arrived. Hasn't this guy ever heard of e-books? He muttered to himself as he moved about the room. He ran his left hand along the books as he made his 6th or 10th or 100th pass round of the room. Tam. He stopped because he thought someone had come in the room. He turned to answer, but no one was there. Tam, please. Wait. Tam turned around again, looked at the shelves of books. I've heard that voice before. Recently heard it. Tam, don't do it. Now he was creeped out. The voice sounded like Owen's. He'd asked Dion several times if he could see her, but the fairy put him off, telling him she was in critical condition. Listen, Tam. Owen, he said aloud. His voice echoed in the room. There was no answer. The voice in his head. He moved the pages of the maps on the table and picked up a pen. I gotta be dreaming. This is just nuts. And it was nuts, the whole idea. And not just popping from place to place, but doing it to destroy something as rare as a healing well seemed wrong. He started using the pen as a bothering tapper, softly striking it against the table, just as he would when he was playing his drum. But the angle was off. It wasn't the same. His routine since he was 8 had been to pull the bodhran out and play when he found himself in a tough situation, having difficulty with a decision, or if he couldn't think through a math problem. He needed the rhythm to think. Bog said he put the drum where it was safe, but Tam hadn't seen Bog since Dion struck him in the library to memorise the location. He dropped the pen on the table and held out his left hand as he summoned the Shallalach. If it was possible to go to a place and back, was it possible to bring something where he was? Was it going to hurt to try? And what if I end up bringing something to me that wants to kill me? He dismissed that thought and closed his eyes. Using his imagination, he formed the image of the bother in his mind. He saw the curve of the wood, the studs that were around the edges, and felt the texture of the skin. He thought of playing it, sitting in the room at home, striking out a beat. Something thudded on the ground at his feet. He broke the image and opened his eyes to see his Bodhran's case. Tam sat the shillalach on the table and knelt down to open it up. His drum was there, as were his tappers in their velvet sleeve. He pulled the drum out, selected a tapper, sat back on the stool with his Bodhran on his right knee, his tapper poised and relaxed. Ready position in his left hand, Tam began to play. He closed his eyes, lost himself in the music, in the beat of the drum, the whisper of the tapper's brush against the skin, the glide of his hand as he moved to the edge of the right palm along the inside of the drum to change pitch. He saw a well in his mind, but not the stereotypical kind, with round brick or stone sides and a wheel and pulley for a bucket. The image showed only a hole in the ground, in a diameter much larger than he'd imagined. Grass grew long around its borders, so long it fell into the water itself and loomed. It bloomed with lilies of purple, pink and white. It didn't have a muddy bank or a sandy beach, just the roots of a nearby tree. No, 3 trees, the ash, the oak and the thorn. A blackthorn tree. They grew in the shape of a triangle, a root system in each corner, and in the middle rested the blessed well. He reached out in his mind to touch the roots, to feel each and every part of their bark, to listen to the song of the earth inside of them, and felt hundreds of whispers against his mind. Name after name of leprechaun, seelie and unseelie alike. With each whisper he saw the root of a tree as it formed the shape of a staff. Shallalas. He was hearing the teeming voices, the joying song of the hundreds of shallalas singing out to him. That's it. Owen's voice shattered the vision. He dropped the tapper and would have dropped the bodhran if he hadn't moved to the table. He breathed hard and reset his awareness back to the library, back to Dion's home, with the drum in his lap, sandwiched between his chest and the table. He reached out with the shillalach and moved his hand along its very surface. That's the end of that episode, guys. He's doing music to go into a trance, to meditate, I guess. But yeah, thank you for listening and many blessings.